Hello, I'm Carolyn Holzman, and this is Confessions of an SEO. Season 3. These are my experiences in SEO, both as an SEO and as an SEO tester. So I do not repeat Google press releases and explain them. I watch their feet, and I do this through testing. Even if we can't understand the entirety of the algorithm, we can learn pieces that will inform our SEO practice and our success for our clients. So if you're an independent or agency SEO, I get you. For business owners or stakeholders who are trying to manage a team or deal with any agency, I was a local business owner and I understand your sense of questioning to understand better. Please stay receptive. We're trying to explain it as best we can to someone who isn't already an SEO, and even then, it may sound a little unbelievable. So, welcome to Season 3, Episode 1. I never thought those words would come out of my mouth. Wishing everyone a happy new year and welcome to 2023. Thank you to those who are continuing to slide in with their completed surveys. Really, you're helping me so much. And it's also reassuring. So far, no one has ever said, please stop. In fact, quite the opposite. So, I just want to say, while there is no way that I can go do a daily podcast, I'm flattered that this was someone's suggestion. So if you're a listener of any longevity and have 2 minutes and you're open to helping me, I would really appreciate your feedback. Ooh, the link is in the description, but it's also on American Way Media's Facebook page pinned to the top. There's a direct link to the SurveyMonkey survey in the description. It's one of those short links, bit.ly/ and then COAS-survey2. And I'm really sorry I said that. Okay. So looking ahead, I just wanted to share with you what some of the feedback has been regarding like different types of episodes. And there were 3 top vote getters. And the 3 topics were projects that I'm working on, more SEO testing stories, and trending topics in SEO. Now, I can probably do more about the projects that I'm working on. It has been challenging since I farmed my brain out to an agency, but I'm sure as long as I don't out anybody or anything, I can share some of the details of the work that I'm doing from time to time. So I'll try and do better on some of that because I do think that a lot of what I'm doing is something that is very, very, there's a lot of people trying to do this. And thankfully, it's been doing well. So, and I also think, just it's pretty safe to say that there's going to be a lot of episodes where I will continue to share my SEO testing and research stories. For new listeners, you may or may not know, I've been involved in a indexation research project that is now over a year. It's almost 500 days old. So, yeah, what is it? Go big or go home. But it's where I test 5 days a week and I publish new content and then I watch the indexation process for that new content. And last year we had a situation where a lot of people were struggling because when they go in Search Console, it says crawled but not indexed. And that had pretty much been the case for most of 2021. And we were finding, even as testers, we were struggling to get our test pages indexed because who knows? We did find certain things. So I would say, came out with a brand new protocol on how to get your content indexed in February last year. So the plot thickens because Decembers have always been weird, but now finding that this past December, a lot of stuff was very, very strange. And so I'm deep down in the rabbit hole of what's different now. And it is different. And I'm building up a case, I think, based on the data. Probably have something to share probably in a month or so. I know it sounds like, why don't I just tell you now? But The thing is data. You need to have it. You need to be able to see something more than once to say this is what's happening. And I know that's boring, and I know that takes time, but um, it it really is helpful to kind of practice and see what's going on in Google, and how is new content getting in, and what are they doing in general. So I know this week we've had a couple of high volatility days, and I do not believe that any of that was technically an algorithm update. I do think that they're reprocessing and pushing things out. And, when they take back, when they put back pages that they took out, that's going to move things around. So I think that explains the high volatility. All right. And then what was the other one? Oh, yeah, trending topics in SEO. I don't even want to say the words chat GPT because everybody and his brother is talking about it, which is fun. It is fun. And I am using mine. I know everybody's doing it for other things, but I'm using mine like a voice assistant. I will admit, one of the things I tried was putting in all the alcohol and liqueurs in the mixer that we had on hand at New Year's and ask, what cocktails can I make from these? And it worked. So it wasn't SEO, but it was still fun. One thing, and I'm working on this right now, is the interviewing of business owners to ask them questions. As an SEO, who's obviously, I'm not trying to seek out their business, but more approaching it more as like an SEO journalist to find out what are their experiences. What does it feel like from their end when every Tom, Dick, and Harry points out an error on their site? I had a hilarious one the other day that came in that, I read it and I was just like, you really thought this was a good thing to send to me? I know exactly what they're doing. And I was insulted. So I can imagine if it's a business owner who just sort of thinks they're getting another email for somebody who's interested in their services, that would be pretty off-putting. But if you've been a long-time listener, you know that I started out calling this podcast Confessions of an SEO, but it was like love letters to the businesses and the SEOs who serve them. And that's the roots of this. That's why I'm taking my time to do this, because as I see it, I feel like there's a huge, huge problem in our industry. We have skills that will help businesses achieve their dreams. And very often what we find is that we're not their first relationship, right? So their hearts have been broken by other SEOs. And so consequently, they believe that all SEOs are, horrible, stupid, money-grabbing jerks who are trying to take their hard-earned money from them and the food out of their children's mouths. And at the very same time, some of them are jerks too. At one point early in my career, I was starting to make cold calls to introduce my then agency and talk with business owners. And I remember one in particular, he started yelling at me. It was a roofer. I'm sure a lot of you out there go like, oh, I know that guy. Now, I should have just hung up, right? But when he started, I was just too darn curious. He felt he had been robbed, quote, by the likes of people just like you. Now, this was our first phone call. He had no idea who I was. And he asserted he had plenty of business, and he was tired of the daily interruptions to hear the same promises over and over, only to be thwarted. He paid tens of thousands of dollars to effectively get nothing, no new business, and so he was just done. And like I say, I have my own stories about business owners who, frankly, were super jerks. They would tell me they completely understood how to get business off the Google, and all they needed was someone to do it for them because, well, they just didn't have the time. And I think I told you one time I was offered a full-time position by someone who understood SEO to sit at a desk at their office, provide reports of everything that I did for them, and they were going to provide me with a monthly revenue of $300. Okay. Or here's another fun one. They refused to acknowledge that the problem was not with the SEO, the problem was with the conversion. Basically, I had made it to where they were getting lots and lots of traffic for people who needed exactly what the business, were offering. It was a real estate thing. And all these people would come only to click away after they could see that the page that they landed on, that they needed their help, they were faced basically with a form of over 25 questions that at the end they were going to have to trust, after turning it in, that somebody was going to call them back to help them get an apartment, when at the time everybody else's website was actually only requiring an email and then would give them access to actually look at actual apartments. Now, I talked myself blue in the face with these people about what they needed to do and how the website needed to be changed, that it was no longer a situation where what they were doing was a match to what their market wanted. And basically I was told, sit down, do your SEO, we'll run the business. I should have walked. I swear. So it's no wonder, I think I said it best, and I have tried not to keep, ringing that bell. But episode 2 from season 1 is basically why I hate client SEO. And I'm sure every SEO out there who's had some experience kind of understands where that frustration comes from. Now, I'm not saying it was only them, okay? And I'm working on it. I'm working on my PTSD, my client PTSD, I should say. But most of the SEOs I know are diversifying. They're pivoting to include some affiliate income in their revenue streams, because sometimes it's just great not to have to fight somebody to make their stuff better. I swear. And how much more or how much longer will we want to put ourselves out there and paint that target on our backs? Some of them, I'll just say this, some of the people that report how much money they make from digital marketing are selling to other digital marketers. I'm sorry. It's just kind of like the snake that swallows its tail. Okay. So I don't know what the solution is, but I do know that we as SEOs need to understand more of what a business owner in a particular niche or industry is thinking, right? And we don't necessarily want to get yelled at while we do it. And I also feel that, and I've spoken about this before, I think business owners need to learn to invest their own time in learning, not about SEO, but in learning about the game that they are playing. When they rely on Google to bring in free, that means no paid ads, but free organic business. For a long time, business owners built that because it was in Google's best interest for them to help people do that. Right? It's like the puppy dog clothes. Like, isn't this puppy cute? Now we're going to take it away because, needs a home. So now everybody is chasing after the elusive, but it used to work so great. I just need to spend more money on my ads while I figure this out. That's kind of like, I really do think that a lot of the struggle that we have is based on and when I say ignorance, I just mean it's just the not knowing, right? Because it's not that somebody's really trying to educate them. We try, but we try to do it when we're trying to sell it. And I think the timing of that is the issue there. I think if we could, as an industry, educate them in a way where they didn't feel like our hand was edging ever slightly towards their pocketbook or their credit card, um, we might get a little more traction with them. I don't know, maybe whatever. But just recently, like this last week, just to encapsulate it, most business owners, and I kid you not when I say this, when you tell them that, let's say Google missed indexing some of their new content, took it out in December, their first response is, how can we get Google to compensate us for our lost business? You see, it's a state of not being in reality. Now, I know that I'm getting to rant status on this, but rather than just agitate and say we've got a problem, I have a plan. Now, I'm going to start reaching out to random businesses to ask them some of these questions about all of this, specifically, when SEOs reach out to them. And a few of them, I'm going to ask if I can record their answers for the show. So are you with me? Is this exciting or what? Now, operationally, this is going to be challenging from a technical side of things, but I'm okay playing around with it. If you don't mind, from time to time, I may trip over myself a little bit. But I kind of like it because, let's face it, is anyone in our industry doing this? So when I do the first one, don't expect to get the name of the business. You'll know the niche, but that's it. There has to be some measure of anonymity because I feel like they need to be in a safe place, right? So if someone is lending their help, they don't need to be punished by being pelted with emails and calls from every SEO agency from here to Timbuktu. And why would they offer their time? And I mentioned it last week, so I know I'm going to have to come up with something that would be of value to them, but it doesn't necessarily take a lot of money out of my pocket. This is a labor of love. Sorry, I keep saying that, but you have to understand there's no big thing here that's going to step in and cover all these expenses. So I may essentially do one that's on me, right, for you. So you can see if this is of value to you. And my idea is if we can make Confessions like a mediator between the SEO and the business owner, between the business and SEO, maybe we can move beyond what feels like a horrible impasse. Now, if any of this interests you on a particular niche, if you want to sponsor a thank you gift to the business owner, and I'm thinking something along the lines of an Amazon gift card, well, think about it. Reach out to me. confessions@AmericanWayMedia.com. You can tell me what kind of business you'd like to hear from, submit your questions. I'll find a business owner in that niche and interview them with your questions. But I'm going to create a very safe place for them to do that. So, and these shows, they're going to take a little more audio editing than a normal one. And I would be happy to do that as long as I know that it's helping the community and that the community is interested in helping me move this forward. If we don't change something, nothing changes. I know I'm going to do it. The question is, will you do what you can to benefit from it? Okay, well, that's it for today. Remember to catch the daily crawl or no crawl reports. I may have some interesting developments to share in a little while, but these daily videos are getting pushed out on the channel. January's Forensic SEO training course starts in a few weeks on January 19th. If you're interested in checking it out, have a few more seats. It's ForensicSEOtraining.com. It's a live training. Thank you for being a listener. I hope you'll come back and bring a friend. Thank you to all the sponsors of Confessions that help support this work for themselves and others. It's been my pleasure to be with you, and I'll see you in the SERPs.